Jack Davis had always been the type of person who believed that success was something you could control. He thought that with enough hard work, planning, and persistence, failure could be avoided. He had the mindset of an achiever, one who believed that every setback could be overcome with sheer willpower. But that belief was about to be tested in a way that would leave a mark on him for the rest of his life. It all began during his final year in college. Jack, an architecture major, had spent the last 3 years excelling in his courses. He was well liked by his professors and had a reputation as someone who would go the extra mile. When the final project for the year was announced, a design for a sustainable, futuristic skyscraper, Jack knew this was his moment. He could feel it in his gut. This would be the project that would showcase his talent and get him noticed by top firms. He could already imagine the accolades he would receive, the job offers, the recognition. For months, Jack worked tirelessly on his design. He stayed up late, sketching ideas, refining his concepts, and poring over architectural magazines for inspiration. Every detail mattered, from the eco-friendly materials to the advanced technology embedded in the building's structure. He was so consumed with perfection that he barely noticed the toll it was taking on his health. He wasn't eating properly, wasn't exercising, and most importantly, wasn't sleeping enough. Still, he pushed on. As the deadline drew near, Jack's excitement grew, but so did his anxiety. He was determined to give the best presentation of his life. The night before the presentation, he stayed up until 3 a.m., adjusting renderings and tweaking his PowerPoint slides. He knew the project inside and out. The next day he would shine. There was no room for failure. But when Jack stood in front of the panel of professors and industry professionals the following afternoon, everything fell apart. As he began his presentation, something strange happened. His computer crashed. The rendering software he had spent weeks perfecting froze on him. Then, when it finally rebooted, his meticulously prepared slides were garbled, the images distorted. He tried to salvage the situation, but the damage was done. His perfectly crafted vision was now a series of technical errors and blank screens. The panel exchanged glances, their faces polite but skeptical. Jack's confidence dissolved. He stumbled through his presentation, unable to recover, unable to fix what had gone wrong. When it was over, there was no applause, only a few awkward comments. The professors were kind but didn't hide the disappointment in their voices. Jack's dream, his whole future, seemed to collapse in an instant. What had been months of hard work now seemed to amount to nothing. He felt humiliated. He thought about all the sacrifices he had made for this moment. All the sleepless nights, the missed meals, the lost time. It felt like it had all been for nothing. Jack avoided his friends for days, staying holed up in his room, replaying the disaster in his mind. He was crushed. The failure wasn't just a bad grade. It felt like a personal defeat. He started to question everything. Was he good enough? Could he really become the architect he dreamed of being? Or was this a sign that he wasn't cut out for the profession? But as the days passed, Jack began to do something that would change his entire perspective. He reflected. Slowly, the fog of despair began to lift. He realized that he had been so obsessed with the idea of a perfect outcome that he had ignored the possibility of failure altogether. He had spent so much time working to avoid failure that he had never truly prepared for it. And now that it had happened, it felt devastating. But the more he thought about it, the more he realized that failure wasn't the end, it was part of the journey. He spoke with one of his mentors, a seasoned architect who had faced many challenges in his career. The conversation was a turning point. His mentor told him, "Jack, failure is not a reflection of who you are. It's simply a part of the process. No one gets everything right the first time. Every architect, every artist, every innovator has faced moments like this. What matters is how you respond to it. Do you let it stop you, or do you use it as an opportunity to grow?" That advice hit Jack like a ton of bricks. For the first time, he understood that failure wasn't something to fear or avoid. It was something to embrace. Failure didn't mean he wasn't capable. It meant there was something to learn. And it was this lesson that would shape the rest of his career. Jack started working on a new project, this time with a different mindset. Instead of trying to avoid failure at all costs, he approached it as an experiment. Something that might not work, but that would teach him something valuable. This time he sought feedback at every stage of the process. He didn't wait until everything was perfect to show others. He asked for advice, he took risks, and he failed again. But each time he learned something new. With each failure he grew stronger, more resilient, and more capable. Eventually, Jack's next presentation was a success. The project wasn't perfect, but it was well received. The feedback was constructive, and Jack knew exactly where he could improve. Over the next few years, Jack's career took off. He went on to design iconic buildings that became symbols of innovation and sustainability. But more than the designs themselves, Jack's success was rooted in something deeper. his ability to embrace failure as a stepping stone, not a setback. Jack's story is one that resonates with anyone who has ever faced failure, and let's be honest, that's all of us. We all have dreams, goals, and aspirations. We work hard, sometimes tirelessly, to achieve them. And sometimes, no matter how much effort we put in, things don't go the way we expect. It's easy to become discouraged when things fall apart. Failure can feel personal. It can feel like we're not enough, like we're not cut out for what we want to do. But here's the truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. When we fail, it's tempting to give up, to think that we've hit a dead end. We think, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe this isn't meant for me. But failure is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Think of every successful person you admire, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the scientists. Every single one of them has faced failure. They didn't succeed because they were immune to it. They succeeded because they learned from it and kept moving forward. Failure is not something to fear. In fact, it's something we should welcome. Because in every failure, there's a lesson. In every setback, there's an opportunity to improve. Success isn't defined by avoiding failure. It's defined by how we respond to it. The most successful people in the world didn't achieve greatness because they were perfect. They achieved greatness because they didn't give up when things got tough. They embraced their failures and used them to become better. So, the next time you face failure, remember that it's not the end of the road. It's just a detour, a chance to reassess, learn, and grow. Failure is the foundation of success. Every failure is a step closer to achieving your dreams. Embrace it, learn from it, and let it push you forward. Because in the end, it's not how many times you fail that matters, it's how many times you get back up and keep moving forward.